And today's Browns topic is brought to us by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Simple question. G, we'll start with you, and then we will go around the horn. Is this the most disappointing Browns season since 1999, considering the expectations we had entering the year?
I would say yeah. And the reason I say yeah is because 1999 and some of those years prior, like we was an expansion team. You wasn't thinking about nothing. There was a couple of years I think that you could talk about 07, and they go 10-7, and you barely miss the playoffs.
Don't steal other people's thunder here.
Yeah, I'm just
going with 07.
Encyclopedia. You know?
I know.
But no, I'm gonna go with this one because A, everything hinged on that. B, you look at what the contingency plan is. You went to the playoffs with all these quarterbacks. You look like you had a dominant defense. You had a great record at home. And for you to come out and now you're looking around, the quarterbacks that you got didn't seem to pan out. You look like you're looking back in the draft. You had to get rid of another receiver. It's the same thing they did with Odell Beckham Jr. You got rid of a receiver. And it's like, it's just, and there's no real options available out there. That's another thing that plays a role in it, where it's like, are you going to tank games to lose games to get these quarterbacks? And there's a lot of 2-win teams. And we've looked at the free agent list. I have to say, yeah, this is a very disappointing year because there's no readily available plan or path where you could say you can look and identify to be like, oh, tomorrow we're going to be good because we got this guy. It's not that. It ain't there. It's disappointing.
Jason?
I'm with you, and I was trying to make the case for 2019 because 2019 felt really disappointing. You're coming off 2018. You feel like you finally got a franchise quarterback in Baker. Baker played well in 2018.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Freddie. That was a disaster, though. You make the trade for Odell in 2019. I remember that was the first time, it may have happened before then, first time I recall this happening. Fans lining up outside the Muni lot before the opener against Tennessee, camping out all night to get in the Muni lot.
I remember that.
And then you come out week one and there's like 13 penalties. You get your doors blown off by the Titans.
Yeah.
And that felt really crushing. But the reason I would say no to 2019 was because coming out of that season, Freddie gets fired and you still believe you have a franchise quarterback in Baker.
Yeah.
And if you have a quarterback, you're good. And you still felt going out of that year like we still have our guy at the most important position. This feels most disappointing to me because you don't even have that now. So you don't have a quarterback. You've got an absolute bomb explosion on your cap sheet you're trying to come out of. So not only did you not fail to reach expectations this year, you lost your quarterback. You have no franchise quarterback. You're limited, and I mean, you could draft one, and you're probably going to have a top 5-6 pick, and you can draft one, but that's an unknown as well. So there's just too many uncertainties and unknowns. And you have $170 million still coming on your cap to clean up for your past mistakes. So because of that, I don't want to say it's hopeless. It's never hopeless in the NFL. If they figure out the quarterback, a lot of the rest of the stuff can flip. I wrote this the other day. The cynicism is thinking, how are the Browns going to figure out the quarterback? They haven't done that in 30 years. But if they do, the rest of this can turn very, very quickly. But right now, as you sit here today, this feels like the most disappointing season because of what it's cost you and what you've lost going forward.
So you guys made good arguments. I will say that from 99 to 2010, I can't really have a dog in the fight because I wasn't here.
Right.
So I had no idea what the expectations were in Cleveland those years. But since 2011, I have been here. And to me, the answer is 2019, as you alluded to.
Yeah.
And here's the reason why. For me personally, if you remember, I did not pick the Browns to make the playoffs this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was much lower on the team than most people were. And that's because I really had very little faith coming into the season on Deshaun Watson. And because defense doesn't always translate from year to year, I was a little worried about the defense going backwards. Now, the defense has gone more backwards than I thought, but I thought it would go a little backwards, and Deshaun Watson's been a disaster. So my expectations for them weren't that high. 2019, my expectations were through the roof. Now, turns out they shouldn't have been, but they were for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, is Baker Mayfield. When Baker Mayfield burst on the scene against the Jets in 2018, the town went crazy. And he had one of the better rookie seasons we've ever seen for a quarterback, let alone a Browns quarterback, when every other Browns rookie quarterback had been absolute garbage.
Yeah.
So coming off that season, and remember at the end of the 2018 season, I think they won like 5 of their last 7, something like that. Like they'd gotten off to a bad start. Baker burst on the scene, but then they lost a bunch in a row. Baker was, and then at the end of the year, he was playing great. And remember, Freddie took over the offense that year. And as bad as he was as a head coach, you've brought it up a couple times recently, as an OC for the second half of that season, that offense looked great.
It was dynamic.
Right?
He was the only guy to figure out how to use Kareem and Nick Chubb.
Exactly. So,
Back when
my
Trent had 4 wheels.
expectations. So, now we're going to 2019. Baker had a great rookie season. We're feeling awesome about Ken Dorsey. Even though Freddie turned out to be a disaster, at the time, I was like, wow, this guy was dynamic as an OC. Okay, let's see what he's got as the head coach. Then you traded for Odell. And for me personally, like, Dustin and I were going bananas for like a couple of weeks. Trade for Odell. Like, this was such a big storyline. And we pumped it up. And then it happens. And so we were seeing stars in our eyes. And now you partner Odell with Jarvis. And at the time, you thought Odell was still going to be a superstar. Not just a good receiver, but a superstar. And so you had that. You had Nick Chubb in his prime. You had a guy coming off a rookie season. A head coach you're excited about because the offense looks so good. I thought they were a no-brainer playoff team in 2019. I thought they were going to win double-digit games. I thought they were going to be excellent. And they were awful. And you say, well, at least you knew. But Baker was terrible in 2019.
But you still felt like you had a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
But I can't remember for sure how I felt at the end of the season. But I was, you weren't sure. He threw like 22 touchdowns and 20 picks.
Here's the crazy part about it. If you go to 2019, you look at the stats. They had 2 receivers with 1,000 yards, and and Nick Chubb had 1,000 yards.
Yeah, but Odell wasn't good.
I mean,
he was just pedestrian.
But this is just what goes to show you. If you told me this year, I would take Jarvis and Odell's production and Nick Chubb's production for 2019, and we would be excited.
I get it.
That's how bad this year is.
Our expectation, G, was for Odell to be a superstar.
Yes.
And he's never been since the Giants.
I didn't think that we would be talking about the punter has more yards than our offense.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane.
That's how far we've fallen.
You're right. And you're right, at least, even though the bloom was off the rose a little bit with Baker, you still thought you had your quarterback. But for me personally, my expectations were much higher for the 19 team than they were for this year's.
I agree with everything you said, but I still have to say this year because of the quarterback. Baker wound up not being the guy, but you left that season feeling at least we have the quarterback position solved. Yeah.
And then you got
now you have not only do you not have it solved, you have $170 million still to pay.
And then you got to 2020, and it still came together a little bit. You get to 2020,
well, it did,
and it comes together. We talk about the offensive line was dynamic. Odell had came back that year, but he ends up getting hurt. But listen, that year you still had a dynamic young set of offensive weapons. Baker looked like he was that dude. He gets some.
Yeah.
There is no optimism after this year.
I know this season doesn't fit the criteria, but if you talk about most disappointing end to a season, the Brian Hoyer year when they went to what year was that?
Oh God, the Manziel rookie
when Manziel went in.
I don't remember what year that was.
They
all run together.
They were 7-3. They go to Cincinnati.
Right.
Went on a Thursday night, right?
Thursday night, beat Cincinnati.
They were first place, weren't
First place.
I remember after that game, I was like, Browns are going to the playoffs. The drought's about to end. And now, in fairness, Hoyer's play was starting to tail off, and he was starting. But they should have never gone to Johnny Manziel, and that team had overachieved.
For sure.
That team overachieved.
They brought Josh Gordon back.
We were excited that year.
They brought Josh Gordon back against the Falcons that year. he was like running the wrong routes. Like he just didn't know where he was supposed to be at. It was.
I think Mike Pettin could have been a good NFL head coach. I think Cleveland totally broke him.
Oh, 100%.
Totally.
He was like, I want no parts of the head job.
Well, he 100% had Johnny Manziel forced.
Oh, for sure.
Forced on him. He did not want to start Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, he just. And then to hear Johnny Manziel, like admit to it all. Like, I wasn't taking that serious. I didn't. Like, he was like, I didn't know the plays or nothing. Like, I said, that's so crazy.
The second he drafted him and he was acting like an idiot that whole offseason. And I remember fans were defending all his crazy behavior.
Yep.
Look, that's why it's devastating. You talk about the fans. They've been through Manziel and Hoyer. They had you get Baker.
Carson Wentz getting trapped under the not Carson Wentz.
Brandon Weeden
trapped
under the flag.
And then you got the situation with Deshaun Watson, all these
Billy Manziel in Vegas.
My good
night before a game.
Like you can see why people lose it. They just like this is why. And think about it. Even though we thought Baker was that deal, you passed on Josh Allen.
And
Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
That is devastating.
Yep.
And they're in your division.
And would Lamar have been as good? I mean, we'll never know.
No, you'll never know. And a lot of people didn't want Josh Allen because he had a low completion percentage in college.
I know.
Didn't want him.
So
when you get generational quarterbacks like that and you miss it.
Wasn't he like 57, 58%?
Yeah, it was something very low.
Not good in college.
He had a big arm, big dude, big arm, could run, but.
No, he played in small school. Man, but Lamar is so good right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and think about it, and you luck up, and think about this. The bad part is, we got beat by Andy Dalton, Roethlisberger, and Flacco during those years. Dominated.
Yeah.
I mean, even Andy Dalton dominated us.
Yeah.
Those guys leave after the domination, and then the Ravens get Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Cincinnati gets Burrow.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it don't matter. Roethlisberger was here. The Steelers just kept going on. And it's like, y'all got 2 in a row on us, and we can't get one. So you're still losing to those teams because you ain't got a quarterback.
That game last night was unbelievable.
It puts you in a place where it makes you not be an apologist. That's why I like watching football. Because when you watch teams like that play, I don't care if you like your roster or Andrew Berry says, I like our rooms. You can't bamboozle people because you see stuff like that. Yeah. Jamar Chase and, guys like that, Burrow, and you seeing them going back and forth, score for score, making big throws. They getting hit, getting pounded, getting back up. Yeah, we ain't got nothing like that. Come on, guys.
Is there a better receiver? I guess Tyreek Hill, but Jamar Chase, after catching the ball, I mean, this is ridiculous.
He's phenomenal.
That's what elite quarterback play looks like, by the way.
Yeah,
very tangible.
There was not much defense. What's funny is until Chase Brown fumbled at 21-7, the Bengals D was playing great. And then their D just went from their D was playing at a 10 and went and played at a 0 the rest of the game. It was unreal.
That's why when people be saying stuff about Cedric Tillman, I'm like,
well, I like Cedric Tillman, but he's not that.
No.